ready for some football. I don't know about you. Who else could it be but your man Lou? Yeah.
Who else could it be? For me, your man, Louie T. Welcome to Sunday Night Football Overtime. Broncos, 49ers. You couldn't hear me, right? That's what this game was like. Watching it with the sound off. It's trash. Okay? Jimmy Garappolo is a waste of perfectly good quick release. Man, is he ass. In the conversation surrounding him in the offseason, I'm so glad he had surgery, shoulder surgery, because some poor team would have given up some draft capital for his stinking ass, and you would have been so disappointed. And, the report came out, Washington was trying to strike a deal for him at the combine. You know what? That sounds like some stupid shit this organization would have tried to do. I'm so glad that he had the surgery and they had to back out on the deal and they went in a different direction, because with the offensive line that we got in Washington, there's no way they could have protected Jimmy Garappolo. There were so many opportunities for the 49ers. First of all, I hate the Denver Broncos. You guys know I have an axe to grind. Their head coach is as clueless as it gets. How they managed to win this game, my brain hurts right now. I can't even fathom that they're 2-1. With as bad as they've looked this season and as poorly as they've played, they've managed to win 2 effing games, and it's not fair. They should be 0-3 right now. And somehow they've scored 16, 16, and 11, and they've managed to win 2 games this season and are tied for first place in their division. I don't know what the hell is going on and why the football gods are smiling on the Denver Broncos, but here we are. They're 2-1. I could go through all of the stupid shit that Nathaniel Hackett did in this game, but they won. So who cares? They won. But Melvin Gordon III fumbles twice. I've talked about this guy's fumbling problem. And yet, somehow you're inside the 1 yard line. You're inside the 5. You give it to him. He gets you to the 1, and you're still giving this clown the football. Now, he scored a touchdown. But where's the psychological sense in that? I mean, this guy's probably got the highest fumble rate of any running back in the NFL in the last 5 to 7 years, and you're giving him the football inside the 5? Are you nuts? He's already fumbled twice tonight? Are you insane? It's third and 6 or 8. I don't know. Again, my head was hurting. I don't remember. You get a first down, and the probability of you winning the football game increases exponentially to the point where you probably win the game. You got Russell Wilson, who you spent $230 million on, and you're going to hand the ball off and punt as if time is a factor. Now, again, they won, so who cares? But again, what are you doing, dude? Did you not learn? He brought in a whole advisor to help him, and he's still clueless. I'm glad you guys got to see this, because I've been telling you about this. You got to see it on Monday Night Football in week 1, but I'm glad you got to see this again up close and personal. The bad part is you're probably going to have to endure the Denver Broncos at least once or twice more this season. That's 2 primetime affairs for them. I'd imagine that with Russell Wilson being the main attraction, they probably got 5 of them, if I had to guess. There may be one that you can give back at the end of the season as long as it doesn't like involve Patrick Mahomes, as long as it's not Chiefs Broncos, you probably can get rid of them after week 12 if it's on Sunday night. If it's like Raiders and yeah, you could probably get rid of his ass and slide him back to 425. But if it's Justin Herbert or if it's Patrick Mahomes, which is the likelihood that one of those other games that they have on prime time, they're going to be against a divisional foe, you're probably going to have to sit through it. We're probably going to have to endure this shit at least once or twice more this season. And I'm not looking forward to it. The Sunday night slate has been absolutely hot garbage. I don't think we've gotten a good Sunday night game yet. And that includes the Thursday nighter that kicked the thing off this season with Rams and Bills. Let's see. Week 1 was Cowboys and Bucks, snooze fest, 19-3. Last week was the Packers and the Bears. And I think I proclaimed after that game, please don't ever give us Packers-Bears again, which I know that's going to fall on deaf ears. It's one of the oldest rivalries in the NFL. They love Packers-Bears. I don't know why. It's never competitive. I would prefer you not. And if you're going to make us do this, put it on Monday. Don't put it on Sunday. But that wasn't close last week. And then this game tonight, 11-10. At least it was close, but it was we had a safety with a quarterback running out of the God, Jimmy Garappolo was terrible. Oh my God, this guy is horrible. The man ran out of the back of the end zone by himself. God help the San Francisco 49ers. I don't know how much better they would have been off with Trey Lance, but at least it would have been entertaining. At least it would have been entertaining. This shit was hard to watch. This was Medusa tonight for both teams. I think we ended up with 16 punts at night's end. I gotta know. I gotta know how many punts we had tonight. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 punts between the two teams, excuse me. Wow. The kicking game was strong. It wasn't strong. It was strong between these two teams. I mean, these boys were kicking their asses off. And we got some great special teams plays. To me, the best part of the game was the special teams. Down and shit inside the 5, inside the 2. Guy grabbed one and ran straight out of bounds at the 1. We had a double tap situation. Guy jumps from the half-inch line, bats it back. Then the long snapper comes in, gives it a little tap, back. And then the other guy, the backup tight end, Ross Dwelly, comes and corrals it at the 1. I mean, damn. That shit gave me chills. I had to warm myself up. Some real good frosty special teams tonight. I mean, that was the highlight of the night for me. I can't speak for you. Highlight of the night for me was watching the special teams get off and have several punts down inside the 10 to 5 yard line. Hell, a couple of them inside the 1. This game was terrible. I don't really have much to add other than I don't understand how the Broncos are 2-0 right now. I am at a loss. Other than their defense is actually good, which we knew coming into the season they would be good. But it also helps when your first 3 opponents are Seattle, Houston, and now San Francisco. That helps too. They honestly probably should be 3-0, but they couldn't get Seattle. Couldn't score enough in that ball game. Too many turnovers inside the 1 yard line. But God forbid when they start playing some good teams, I don't know what's going to become of them. I mean, if this keeps up, they're 2-1 though, and I'm not going to rain on their parade because a win's a win in the National Football League. It doesn't matter how it looks, how you get it. If I were a Broncos fan, I'd be like, look, it wasn't pretty. I get it. But it was gritty and it was a dub, and I'm going to put it in the left-hand column, and I'm moving on. Like Maya, I'm moving on, and I don't blame you. I do the same thing. You're damn right. Give me my dub. You're not going to take that shit, and you're not going to make me feel bad about it. If you're the 49ers, this is a missed opportunity, man. I don't know if the Broncos will look like this 6 weeks from now. Maybe the offense is starting to boom, and Nathaniel Hackett's offense is starting to settle in, and Russ is comfortable now, and these targets know what to expect, and all of a sudden they got it going, and they're clicking on all cylinders. I don't know. That could be the case 6 weeks from now. But you got them in week 3 when they were ripe and ready for the taking, and you blew an opportunity to get your second win of the season. You lost to Chicago and Denver. Let that shit sink in if you're the 49ers. A lot of teams had favorable schedules to start this season off, and they're not taking advantage of the schedule. 49ers are one of those teams. I get that Chicago was a slop fest. You got to win that game. No excuses. My mind is boggled because the Bears are 2-1. There are a lot of teams I'm looking around and saying, how the hell are you 2-1? There are a lot of 1-1 teams, though. The NFL, they did a masterful job this year of taking the bad teams and putting them up against each other and saying, hey, look, we're not having no 0-6 teams this year. We're not doing that shit. We're not having any teams that's threatening to be 0-11 and looking to see if they're going to be, winless this year. We're not doing that shit this year. We're going to make sure garbage teams get an opportunity against good teams. We're not giving good teams a bunch of games to get fat off of. That's how you get Bears and Texans. Somebody's got to win. Bears already had a win by then because they beat the same San Francisco team. And now you know why they beat the same San Francisco team. Because the offense looks dreadful. But they said, no, somebody going to win. We're not doing this shit this year. Somebody's getting a dub today. There's been a lot of those early in the season where they say, hey, somebody's winning today. We're not doing this shit. Somebody's getting a dub. Man, Jimmy Garappolo stinks. Damn, he's garbage. I'm so glad he's still in San Francisco. He was this close to being on another team's roster, stinking up the joint elsewhere. Indianapolis, Washington, somewhere. Jesus. Some lucky team out there dodged the bullet. Before the game, I heard the sideline reporter for Sunday Night Football. I don't remember who it is. And she said that Jimmy Garappolo saw this as a new lease on life, and essentially now he can go out and play free football. If this is free football for him, if this is just going out and cutting it loose, I don't know. I don't want to see what it looks like when he's uptight and when he's actually trying to protect his job. I damn sure don't want to know what that looks like. If this is playing loose and free, I got nothing to lose. Oh, man. I hope Trent Williams is okay. That made a huge difference in this game. It really, truly did. They started to get tons of pressure off that left side once he left the ball game. It's never good when they bring the cart out. He refused the cart because he's Trent Williams. He's silverback. So I'm not shocked that he didn't get on the cart, but it's an ankle injury. That's what they're reporting right now. It's never good when anybody rolls up on your leg. Hope he's okay. Hope it's nothing serious. Good to see George Kittle back out there tonight. You know, even though his impact was minimal on the game, it's just good to see him back. He's such a big part of what they want to do. But there were opportunities tonight, man. I can't count how many times Deebo Samuel was running wide open. You get Deebo Samuel one-on-one with Josie Jewell, that's supposed to be a touchdown. And it wasn't a great throw by Jimmy Garappolo, but Deebo Samuel was juggling the shit like he was a clown. I saw one ball. I didn't see three, but he damn sure was doing a little juggling act as he fell down. He catches that cleanly. That's a touchdown. Who's stopping him from scoring? Jawan Jennings has an opportunity on the sidelines on one possession, and he decides he doesn't, I'm good. I'm going to just go ahead and bobble this thing. Go ahead and fall out of bounds and only get 1 foot down. You're driving first possession of the second half, fumble. Jimmy Garappolo steps out of the back of the end zone. You got a shot late, and Jimmy throws it. Again, this is one of those welcome to Jimmy Garoppolo land throws where there are 2 Denver Broncos standing there and 1 49er, and he decides he's going to zip it in there. Okay. Gotcha. Good job, Jimmy. That gets picked off. And then you get one more shot. How? I don't know. You should not be in a position to still have the football with a chance to win the football game. But miraculously, because Denver is so awful, you do have a chance. So you get the football and you get sacked on first down. Okay. And I'm thinking, man, will he run out of bounds again? I don't know. Stay tuned for second down. We'll see. And then, so he's about to get sacked, not in the end zone, but he's about to get sacked again. And he finds Jeff Wilson. And I'm saying, well, shit, Jeff's the only reason they got a touchdown in the game. So maybe Jeff can bless them again. And he did. He provided blessings, just not for the 49ers. And if you're a Washington fan and you're out there, doesn't this just gnaw at you? Doesn't this just eat away at your soul? Watching a sixth defensive back, okay? Like the last dude off the bench, PJ Locke, comes in with a Mamba mentality. Boom, bolo punch. Give me that shit. Their sixth defensive back, their dime back, comes in the game, barely gets in the game, barely gets any run. But the first thing he's thinking, I'm stripping this chump. He doesn't even know I'm coming. I'm popping this puppy free. And we got dudes that play 90% of the snaps, and that shit doesn't even cross their damn minds. You can't tell me that shit doesn't eat at you. If you're a Washington fan and you're watching that Broncos defense and you see PJ Locke, who you haven't heard of in your life, who hasn't been on the field all night, and I don't know that for a fact. Can't confirm or deny that. But you haven't heard his name all night. I damn sure hadn't heard his name all night. And he just says, to hell with this shit. I'm ending the game right now. Boop. Game, set, match. Let's go home. Let's not even have suspense and drama. Let's not have a 3rd and 3. Let's go home. That is why I have a half a bottle of wine left in the freezer that I've already drunk, half of the bottle, and I'm going to finish the other half after this stream is done. Broncos get the win 11 to 10. 11 to 10 is the final score of this game. The difference being a Jimmy Garappolo safety in which he ran out of the back of the end zone unmolested. He wasn't touched. He went willingly out of bounds. God bless the San Francisco 49ers. Anyway, I digress. Let's get to the comment section. I got nothing else for you guys. The Cubone. Duval! Congrats, man. You're 2-1. And that was a thorough ass whooping that you applied today to the Los Angeles Chargers. Damn, that was impressive. Hurt Justin Herbert or not hurt. The rest of the team isn't hurt. But you put a hurting on them. 2-1. First, I saw your hashtag earlier tonight. First road win in how long? How long has it been since you run a road game? 3 years, 4 years? Whatever it was, celebrate, man. Y'all 2-1. And if I'm not mistaken, you're still at the top of the division, right? That's still where you at. You looking down at everybody else, right? Houston's 0-2-1. Indy's 1-1-1. And Tennessee is 1-2. So you're still looking down at everybody else, man. Congrats. Keep it up. Keep rising to the top. Give it all you got. Ryan A. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB who writes, Gordon fumbles twice and they keep him in over Javonte Williams. Look, I can't make this stuff up, Ryan. So we're here. Me and you are here. I can't make this stuff up, man. The man fumbles the ball twice. And as I've already mentioned to you guys over the years, 1,000 times, nobody fumbles quite like Melvin Gordon III. and yet they get inside the 5. And at that point, I would be like, hey, Javonte, you're in. Melvin, come on over here. But they keep him in there. And bless their hearts, he got it done. But the whole time I'm thinking, are you serious right now? You're going to, I wanted to go Tom Brady on him. You're going to keep this effing guy in the game over me? If I'm Javonte Williams? But, and he scored. So again, when it works, there's nothing to talk about. Had he fumbled, I would have filleted Nathaniel Hackett's ass. So you know, I'm waiting for him to F up. You already know. You already know. I'm going to be on Nathaniel Hackett's ass all season long for what he did to me. Nothing slides. Nothing. I'm right there with you, Ryan. Ryan A., thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Double up. Thank you for doubling up. I'm a JW fantasy owner, so that game had me heated. That makes a ton of sense because you took extra interest in Javonte Williams not getting in. That's a little not minor, but if you're not a fan of Denver, then you know you're not really paying attention to that. You care less. That's some shit I noticed. I wasn't expecting you to notice, but you noticed for other reasons. You had a vested interest in him getting in that short yardage situation, goal to go. You had a vested interest in Javonte Williams seeing some action there. The Cubo, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Double up. Thank you for doubling up. Who writes, this Sunday Night Football has been terrible so far this season. I'm more excited for this week's Thursday night game rather than this game. Me too. But then I've been excited for a bunch of games, and none of them have lived up to the billing. I was excited for Rams Bills to kick off the season. I was excited for Bucks Cowboys Sunday night. That was trash. I was excited for that's pretty much it. I don't think I was excited for any more primetime games. Chargers and Chiefs. That one lived up to the billing, but again, that was a Thursday night game. But that's been it. I mean, the Broncos Seahawks game was supposed to be a blowout in my mind. It ended up being a good game, but not because of the actual content on the field. It just was the score was close, and it was a lot of drama involved in that game. And I think that was the only other game that was close. All the rest of them have been pretty, much one or two score games, bare minimum. Chiefs Chargers, I think, was the best game so far of the primetime slate. And I think Thursday has another good one in Bronco and Bengals hosting the Dolphins on Thursday night. That's going to be a dandy. So, yeah, I'm with you on that. John Livingston, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB who writes, man, that was borderline unwatchable. Switch to the Game of Thrones at halftime. Fish fans, you got us today. Rejoice. See you in December. That game was tough, man. Again, if I didn't do this for a living and I didn't care as much, even if I didn't do this for a living, I would have still watched because I told you I'm injected in this. I've got NFL football injected in my veins and I can't shake it, man. But if I didn't care, like if I had other stuff to do, if I worked a 9 to 5, I had work in the morning, I would have went to sleep on this game. This is the one you wake up the next day, you just check your phone to see who won. Oh, 10-11. Wow. Didn't miss much. And you keep it pushing. But this is one of those games where I watch so you don't have to. But a lot of you are like me. You can't help it. You love football just like I do. So you sit through this and you take it. I still can't believe the Bills lost today. I still don't know how that actually transpired. I watched that game and I never thought that the Bills were going to lose. Not one, even when River Craycraft scored his second touchdown of the game, which ultimately turned it to the game-winning touchdown to give them the 21-17 lead. I still thought Buffalo was going to win the game. And then I just saw, like literally 30 minutes ago for the first time, I just saw offensive coordinator Ken Dorsey lose his shit in the press box after, they didn't get the ball spiked. If you haven't seen Ken Dorsey lose his shit, please go indulge yourself and go watch him take his headset off, slam that down, take all of his game plan notes, slam that down, take anything he can get his hands on and slam that shit down. He was pissed. He wanted it bad. I'm not mad at him, man. I ain't glad at him, but I ain't mad at him. The Q-Bone, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. The Q-Bone writes, Jimmy Garappolo, more like Jimmy Garbanzo beans. Absolutely. Man, it amazes me that this man has played in the Super Bowl and almost played in another one. Like, that shit is hard to fathom. Now, I think it's much more of a product of his environment. Like, Jimmy was a passenger. I thought the first Super Bowl that they actually went to and had a chance to win, Jimmy wasn't terrible that year. I thought he had some games where he actually played his ass off. I remember very specifically a Monday night game against Seattle that year. The Seahawks were actually still solid defensively, and they had some guys out in that game, did San Francisco, and Jimmy carried them to a victory. There were some games in that season where Jimmy Garappolo wasn't terrible, like he actually was a huge part of the reason why they won. But then he showed his true colors in the Super Bowl when they needed him most. You got E-Man Sam running wide open down the field, and he overshoots him by 3 yards. And last year, there were some opportunities in the game. He was a passenger last year. He was along for the ride. But again, it's crazy to me, this NFL thing, man. It's a team sport. We put a lot on the quarterback's shoulders, a hell of a lot on the quarterback. And it is a quarterback-driven sport. You got to have one of those dudes or you don't have a chance. But I think the 49ers and what they've done over the last 3 years, because they went in 19 and then they went again in 21 or went to the championship game and should have went again in 21. I think they've shown what the epitome of team ball is. Complementary football. Really good place kicker and Robbie Gould. A really, really good defense. 19, they were elite. Last year, they were good. 20, really good. 19, they were elite. They were a dominant unit. And then just running the football and managing the game, not turning it over, being smart. They've shown what you can do when you put all three phases of the game together. And that's evident because clearly this dude is not taking you where you want to go. Let's see. The Q-Bone, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. My guy, the Q-Bone writes, hashtag first road win in 3 years, #1 turnover differential. This is the same Jags team that last year was one of the worst in turning teams over. Now they're the best at turning teams over in the league. And your first road win in 3 years. How about that? 3 cheers for the Jags. Hip, hip, hooray! Hip, hip, hooray! Hip, hip, hooray! For the Jaguars, man. Going on the road and getting you a dub. I swear if we would have played Jacksonville in Jacksonville, they would have beat our ass. It just so happens that we got them on the road, man. They were in Washington, or else They would have beat our ass. They'd be 3-0. And I know that has to piss you off. Thinking about all the opportunities you had in Washington, you should have beaten us, and you would be 3-0 right now. One of the undefeated teams in the league. Obviously, you can't go back and change what's done is done, but you should have beaten us in week 1. And now looking back, it'd be one thing if you were 0-3 and you say, damn, we let one get away in Washington, but what difference would it have made? We would have been 1-2. You could have been 3-0. That makes a huge difference. But nonetheless, the Cubone, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Who writes, was Philadelphia's 9 sacks more on Washington's O-line, or is a combination of both? Philly's defensive line, they were hungry today, man. They were hungry, and our offensive line was dreadful. Absolutely dreadful. It was terrible, but you got to give credit to the Eagles, because if they were lifeless corpses, they wouldn't have got to the quarterback. Or you could argue they still would have gotten to the quarterback with the way our offensive line was protecting today. But the likelihood is if they were a bunch of stiffs, they wouldn't have gotten there. They got to the quarterback with 4-man rushes, okay? There wasn't a lot of blitzing involved, Cubone. They didn't send 6 to get to the quarterback. It was consistently a 4-man rush beating 5 offensive linemen. Consistently beating 5 offensive linemen on a 4-man rush. Sometimes we keep an extra guy in, and it'd be jet protection. 6 men in to block 4 and still getting our asses whooped. So, yeah, it was that kind of day. And some of that's on Carson Wentz. Some of that's on the play caller. Everyone's got it's enough blame to go around. Everybody can get some. Carson, you take some. Offensive line, you take a bunch. Play caller, you take some. It's enough to go around. They were all terrible. And the Eagles were really good. Got to give them credit. Vincent Coe, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB. My guy, Vincent Coe, writes, all love to Russ, but is he washed? LOL. I don't want to say he's washed because he's in a new offense. And a lot of people discount how hard it is when you've been in the same place. Not necessarily was Russell Wilson in the same system, because they've changed offensive coordinators during his time in Seattle, at least 2 times since he was there. But it's different when you're used to the environment, you're used to the weapons, and you can ad-lib. Even if you're not accustomed to the playbook yet, you still have basic things and fundamental principles that you can hold on to. And then the rhythm and the cadence of your receivers. So there's still a timing and rhythm thing that you already have down pat. He's in a new environment with new receivers, new timing and rhythm, new playbook, new language, all of this coming at him at once. It's a lot to digest, okay? I refuse to think that Russ is just trash all of a sudden, but it doesn't look good right now. I can say he's pressing. I think he's pressing. There's a throw to Jerry Jeudy out in the flats when he rolls out, and Russ is one of the best quarterbacks on the move, and he throws the thing a half a yard behind Jerry Jeudy, and you're just like, whoa, Russ, what the hell is going on, bro? But that's just, I think he's pressing. He hears the crowd, the boo of the crowd. He hears the crowd counting down the play clock, and yeah, he's aware of all the struggles in the red zone, and it's a lot, and he's trying to work through that. But again, it's so much easier to work through it with a dub. It'd be a lot harder to come to work tomorrow when you're 1-2. Easier to come to work 2-1, even with all the struggles. Vincent Coe, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB once again. Double up. Thank you for doubling up. Who writes, Lou, how about that DJU? We talked about him. That was some good DJU. Do you see the 2-point conversion he threw in that game? I watched that game from the third quarter on, and that was a seesaw battle, back and forth. But that 2-point conversion, that was impressive, man. That took a lot of arm strength, and then the accuracy with a guy grabbing your leg. Essentially, you're doing the split standing up, and you throw a rifle shot in the coverage like that. That's pretty damn impressive. And every time Wake Forest took the lead, he responded. And so you got to give him credit where credit is due. That was a big win. I didn't think they were going to win that game. I really thought they were going to lose at Wake. Timothy Taylor, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. My guy, Timothy Taylor, writes, defense and special teams showed up. O-line was bad. really bad. Really, really, really bad. And it's funny, we give the special teams showed up in the game tonight between Denver and San Francisco. Those two teams' special teams showed up. We give our special team all this credit for just being average. We give up a 12-yard gain, and because we hit the guy hard at the end of the 12-yard gain, I got people in the mob squad talking about how the special teams is playing ball, and I'm like, that shit wasn't good. We just gave up 12 yards on a punt return. You understand 12 yards is a huge run back on a punt return? That's the difference between a drive starting at the 18 and the 30. It's a massive difference 12 yards is, okay? That's a shade over a tenth of the field that was just flipped on a return. No, I'm not celebrating that shit. They went from starting at their own 28 to their own 40. They're damn near at midfield now. Not happy about that. That's not what was happening tonight. They were down in punts inside the 3-yard line and shit. That's good special teams. Our special teams wasn't embarrassing today. That's what it wasn't. It was embarrassing last week against Detroit. It wasn't embarrassing this week. But it was good enough to win. And that was the point you were trying to make. All right. That was the last super. Let's get to some hashtags. 49er or a Niners fan writes, feels like Jimmy misses at least one wide open TD every game. Amen. I swear there's a guy running wide open down the field and they pan to Jimmy and Jimmy goes, every game. It's at least one. At least one. Derek B says, watching all the great special teams plays made me throw up in my mouth. There's a lot of things watching other games that make me throw up in my mouth just thinking about how it applies to our team and the shit that we don't do. And to me, that's all a sign of coaching. When it all boils down to is when your team is selfless, when 3 different dudes decide to touch it, to down it at the 1, that's selfless. That's not somebody trying to be selfish and be a hero and do it themselves. That's everybody working together for one common goal. Let's down this shit inside the 5-yard line. When you get dudes that come up and punch the ball out, some of that is taught, but that's just a dude being a dog. He wants it more. I watched the 49ers. What did I tell y'all? What did I tell y'all about Talanoa Hufanga? What did I tell y'all about this dude, man? He's an effing beast. Man, I love me some Talanoa Hufanga. I told y'all that Bears game, one of the funnest, is that a word? Every time I say funnest, I always ask right after immediately, is that a word? Because it doesn't sound like a real word. How about we just go with, that was one of the best games I've seen a safety play this entire season. Hell, one of the best games I saw a defender. That's part of the reason he was a part of the slime game in week 1. He is a monster. And you could tell he's in the school of Troy Polamalu. He might be Polynesian just like Polamalu. They both went to USC. It makes a ton of sense. Boy, he looks like a problem. And this is the shit that just, he looks good. Anyway, I digress. Got a super chat here from the Cubone. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. The Cubone writes, allow me to take my frustration from week 1 out on Philadelphia. The Eagles haven't faced a defense this season like Jacksonville's. Devin Lloyd, Defensive Rookie of the Year front runner. I love to hear it. And I wish you nothing but the best next week. And I love your team speed defensively because I do think that's going to help you in trying to defend Jalen Hurts because he is a handful with his legs. I thought our defense did a phenomenal job of bottling him up from a running standpoint. Problem was we didn't do a good enough job in the pass defense department. There were opportunities galore in the game for us to make a play or two, But that's just not our DNA. You said you guys are number one in the league in turnover differential and takeaways. So your guys actually look back for the football. Your guys are actually looking to make plays. So maybe you'll be able to get 1 or 2 off of Jalen Hurts. We were unsuccessful because that's not what we do. So I'm looking forward to that. And it'll be a statement game. Obviously, they're 3-0, one of the few remaining undefeated teams in the league right now. They're riding high. Everybody's kind of drinking the Eagles Kool-Aid. It's green. And it's delicious right now. It made me vomit, but it's delicious for a lot of people right now. I'd love to see you go in there and straighten them up straight away. But it's not going to be easy. Not going to be easy at all. But I'm rooting for you. 110%. Niners fan, to quote you, Lou, our offense, especially Jimmy, is ass-tastic. It's as-tastic as it gets. You got some injuries too, man, at the running back position in particular. That doesn't help, but there was enough skill guys out there with Kittle being back tonight. No excuses. You got your top 3 receivers all available. You got your number 1 tight end back, and you should have had enough to get it done tonight. Gregory Lightbody. Ron Rivera is not a good leader. No excuse for being down 20 points at halftime in 2 consecutive games. I disagree with him not being a good leader. I think he's a good leader of men. I don't think he's a great X's and O's coach. And I don't think he's a great motivator. You can be a leader, and you hear guys all the time say, I lead by example. I'm not a rah-rah guy. You can be a great leader and not be a great motivator. Hey, I'm doing my thing over here. You guys can follow me if you like, but I'm just going to show up every day, do my job, do it to the best of my abilities. And if you follow my lead, great, because I do it the right way. But I'm not looking to inspire motivation. I don't think Ron inspires these guys to go out and make it happen. And that's why you see these lackadaisical starts to games. And it's not just Ron, it's the entire coaching staff. The fact that we come out flat like this every week, specifically on offense, I think it's an indictment on the offensive staff in particular. Because in week 2 against Detroit, what did the defense do on the first possession? 3 and out, featured a sack on 3rd down to get off the field. And then they're punting 2 yards deep in their own end zone, and our special teams decides, oh, we don't need great field position. We'll catch the punt at the 27 and only get a gain of 3 to the 30. When they punting from their own, they shouldn't be able to get 70 yards of field position when they're kicking it from their own inside their end zone 2 yards deep, and you only get it to the 30. That's ridiculous. You should be getting that football no worse than at the 40, 45. I don't think that side of the ball, the offensive side in particular, does a good enough job of preparing these guys to start games. Got another super chat. 407 Ski Lock. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Who writes, that Ronald had me dead. We got to take risks on O. Yeah. Ronald Edward Rivera. I mean, he deserves to be called by his entire government. And I'm look, just so we are clear, I have not gotten out of the whip. I'm still riding with Ronald. I'm just starting to rethink my decision. That's all. And I'm starting to think, is it time for me to get the hell out of here? Do I need to jump out of this bitch before it crashes? It didn't cross my mind until this afternoon. That was the last straw for me. Now he's got to win me back because I'm starting to cross over to the other side. I've said this about field goal kickers. And, you know, this is the thing that I do. I'm loyal, but not to a fault. Okay. I know where to draw the line. I can only protect you for so long before you have to start doing things that allow me to help you. The mob has the pitchfork and torch. They're ready to come for your ass. They're ready to run you out of town. I can only stave them off for so long. You got to give me something to work with. It's the same shit I said with Sean Sweezum. It's the same shit I said with Graham Gano. It's the same shit I said with Dustin Hopkins. It's the same shit I say with every player who is solid and I see potential, but I can't keep explaining away mistakes and miscues. At some point, I'm going to have to turn them loose and say, have at it. I can't help anymore. And we're getting to that point. We're dangerously close to that point with Ron Rivera. I'm not stopping anyone now. I haven't picked up a torch or a pitchfork. I'm not joining the mob, but I'm not stopping them anymore. I can't hold them off when you come out and it's 22-0 against the Lions and now it's 24-0 against the Eagles. I can't stop them after that. I can't stop them when at halftime of the game, when you're asked by the sideline reporter, Christina Pink, what do you do about the big plays? I don't know what else to do anymore. If you're out of answers, you might as well turn in your resignation letter, man. You might as well turn in your walking papers. You should retire. If that's the best you got at halftime is, I don't know what else to tell them. We just got to stop the big plays. Okay. That is some really intuitive coaching there, buddy. Top notch, top of the line coaching right there. Cubone. Actually, Timothy Taylor, thank you for the super chat. Double up. Thank you for doubling up. All right, defense did everything they could. I wouldn't say everything. Okay, they gave up 24 points in the first half. I wouldn't say everything they could do. They had a chance to get off the field on the third down, and Benjamin St. Juste decided he would rather tackle A.J. Brown, who was going to drag his ass into the end zone. I would rather tackle him than try to break the pass up. Now, they could have done more. There were more opportunities. Kendall Fuller had a chance right before the half to give the Eagles no points. And he let Devontae Smith put his nutsack on his helmet. I call him a BFG, ball fragment grab, all kinds of ball residue on the side of Kendall Fuller's helmet because he let Devontae Smith put his sweaty sack on his helmet and go up and get the touchdown. I wouldn't say they did everything they could do. They did some good things today, but they could have done more. They came this close to really making shit interesting, but they're not there yet. They played well enough to give us a chance. The Cubone, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Who writes top 5 teams right now? I mean, obviously you go with the 3 teams that are undefeated, and clearly the Giants 2-0 is pending tonight against the Cowboys. But I'm yet to watch the Chiefs game. I'm floored that they lost to the Indianapolis Colts. I know a lot of people got eliminated from the survivor pool off of that one. So it's Tampa loss. They weren't impressive to me anyhow, and I've been talking about that, but I haven't watched that game either, so got to see what the hell happened there. But a lot of low-scoring games in the league this year too. That's another thing. I think that's a byproduct of all these teams deciding that preseason is for the birds. But Eagles, I still put the Bills up there. The Dolphins have to be up there, right? So I think Eagles are 1 right now. You know what? I put the Dolphins 1 because they've played a tougher schedule thus far. Now they've had some home cooking, but they've played a tougher schedule to this point. You know, New England, Baltimore, and now the Bills. They've beat a couple of 2-1 teams, and a Patriots team that, they play defense, if nothing else. So I put Dolphins 1. I put the Eagles 2. I'd put the Bills 3. I'd put the Chiefs 4. I think I would still keep them in there. And I think I would put Tampa 5. I guess Green Bay beat them, so you should elevate the Packers. I mean, it is 2 in a row. So I'll give Green Bay the 5th spot, put Tampa at 6, and I think I like your Jags at 7 right now. When I make a list, I feel listy. I start listing things, and it's usually comprised of 7 items. I think I would put you in the 7 hole right now. Trying to think, am I leaving out any 2-1 teams that I really feel good about? I don't think I am. I think your win against Jacksonville, against the Chargers, super impressive. Maybe the Rams could split you guys, Rams and Jags at 7. But yeah, something like that. You only asked me for 5, so I was giving you some extras. Bree McMurdy, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Bree writes, will Chase Young make our defense better? He can't make it worse. I don't know how much better he's going to make it because, again, I'm not looking for a ton from Chase Young coming off of an injury, the kind of injury that he's coming off of. I'm not counting on him coming back and being a huge difference maker. I hope he proves me wrong. I'm looking for Chase Young to be a game wrecker in 2023. Full off season, no more rehabbing. Now you're working on your craft. Now you're at Von Miller's pass rushing academy in the off season. Now you're getting the work that you need to refine your game instead of rehabbing. I'm not expecting Chase Young to come back and in the final, 9 games that he plays, I think he's going to miss the first 6 and come back in week 7. That's my guess. I'm not looking for 7.5 sacks in 9 games. I think that's unrealistic. It'd be great, but I think it's unrealistic. But to answer your question, yes, I think he's going to make the defense better. How much? I don't know. John Cedillo, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB, who writes, hey, Lou, hope all is well. With next week's Dallas-Washington game, are you more concerned with Micah Parsons coming off the edge or the interior? I'm just concerned, period. It really doesn't matter where he comes. He could come from Jupiter. He could be playing safety and come from 15 yards at the snap. I'm concerned about Micah Parsons. Did you see what he did to us last year? And that was with Brandon Sheriff and company and Eric Flowers. Did you see what he did to our offensive line last year? And now we legitimately have interior offensive line problems. So, yeah, it doesn't really matter where they line him up at, where they blitz him from. The communication up front isn't good. Guys don't move well laterally. They're not passing things off adequately enough. No matter where he comes from, he's going to be a problem. So I'm nervous, period. A gap, B gap, C gap, D gap. He's a problem gap. Bree McMurdy, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Double up. Thank you for doubling up, Bree, who writes, why didn't we run the ball more? Great question. My guy Derek B probably is sitting there clapping at this super chat. Honestly, I had no problems with the way Scott approached the run game. We ran it effectively on first downs. Anytime he runs it on second and medium to short, I cringe because a lot of times we usually aren't successful in that. So Gibson, for the most part, got 4 to 5 on every first down run today, for the most part. And it would set up 2nd and 5 or 2nd and 6. Every now and again, it would be 2nd and 4. And then they would run him. If they ran him again, he'd lose 2 yards or he'd be, stopped for no gain. And it set up 3rd and 6 or 3rd and 5. I think I was cool with running on first down. I wasn't a big fan of running it again because our offensive line isn't a consistent run blocking offensive line. So if you got 6 on first down, be lucky and take that 6 and run with it. Now you got 2 passes to get 4 yards. And instead they would try to go for the jugular and go get 46 yards instead of getting 3 or 4 on 2nd and 6 and making it 3rd and 2 and then getting another 3 and moving the sticks. They decided, hey, let's get 46 of them right now. And then they would get sacked for a 7-yard loss. And now what was once 2nd and 6 is now 3rd and 13. And now we're throwing a stupid screen where we fake it one way and then we're going to throw it back the other way, which you could have done that on 2nd down. Right? Why are you doing that now on 3rd and forever? Answering your question, I thought they ran it enough. I'm going to go to the stats real quick. I'm pretty sure Antonio Gibson either didn't average 4 yards a carry or barely average, because he had a couple of losses where he had one run where he reversed field and ended up getting like 5, and that went to his head. So he decided, oh, shit, I'm going to do it again. And then he lost like 7. So I would imagine that killed his average. He had 2 lost yardage runs that I think killed his average today. Yep, 12 for 38 yards. And his longest was 11. So we averaged 4 yards a carry, but that was with Wentz carrying it 3 times for 22 yards. That really gave that average any life. You take away his runs, and we're under 3 yards a carry again. Under 4 yards, excuse me. We're 22 for 87, which is roughly 4 yards a carry. So I don't think that warrants running it more. We weren't consistent running the football today. Anyway, we were consistent on first down. I will say that. All right. Abel Ambrosio, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB, who writes, what's going on with the Raiders in black unis versus Dallas? What? What's going on with the Raiders in black unis versus Dallas? I'm confused. Are you talking about the Thanksgiving game last year? When they played Dallas on Thanksgiving? I don't know. I'm confused. The great Watubi, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB, who writes, Cowboys, 3-point favorites. Bet your grandma's dialysis money. Look, man, it was funny. Somebody tweeted at me today and was talking about the bet I almost made with Lloyd Brunson. And I'm so glad that bet didn't go down. And that wasn't nothing but God. That wasn't nothing but my guy, JC. Shout out to my guy, JC. Was like, bro, I'm going to save you from yourself. Because this is why I don't bet on Washington in particular, because they're trash. You know, I don't have enough confidence in them. But sometimes, you know, you get in the heat of the moment, you know, and that wasn't a, spontaneous thing, right? That wasn't me just getting heated and deciding to just risk it all. I was adamant all offseason that we were going to beat them in week 3, you know. Now, I hate doing week 3, anything after week 1 guarantee, because I can't account for what the roster is going to look like 3 weeks in. I can account for week 1 because you're going to have most of your stuff week 1. Week 3, and you've seen it already. No William Jackson III, no James Smith-Williams, no Casey Toohill, no Daniel Wise in this game. We got dudes that literally got here a week ago. So Patua Ia, the defensive tackle, the kid we got from Dallas, I don't know why I can't remember his name. And it was one more person, one more player. They played 51 snaps today combined. These are dudes we just got last week. It's just crazy, man. I couldn't have foreseen that. I couldn't have foreseen that Rashad Wild Goose would be getting meaningful snaps in a Week 3 game. Hell, I didn't even know Rashad Wild Goose was going to be on the team until, 4 days before the season started. So, again, I couldn't have foreseen that. But that's nor here nor there. They just kicked our ass, period. So, I said, won't he do it? Thank you, JC, for saving me from me. All right. That's why I rock with you. That's why I put no one above you. Okay. Because you know what I need, even when I don't know what I need for myself. You got me. Emorio, Delcid, stand up. You are the newest member of the MOBB. Emorio, y'all know what to do. Show Emorio some love. Welcome him with open arms. And show him what it's like to be a member of the MOBB. Emorio, welcome to the squad. Welcome aboard. Abel Ambrosio. Double up. Thank you for doubling up. Right, it's my bad for misunderstanding what was going on with the Raiders when and we were wearing our black uniforms versus Dallas. And so he says, my bad for the misunderstanding. What's going on with Raiders and we wearing our black uniforms versus Dallas? Okay, so those are two separate things. Okay. The Raiders, they're turning the ball over. That's number one. Too many turnovers. He had 3 picks in week 1. Last week in the loss against the Cardinals, we know about the fumble at the end of that ball game, right? And then this week, he throws a pick in the end zone against the Titans. And so it's just too many mistakes at crucial times of the game. You can't make these kinds of mistakes and expect to win in this league. Derek Carr has been he's been awful this year, to be honest with you. He hasn't been good enough. And this was another example of why Raiders fans are always clamoring for somebody else's stuff, because Derek Carr just isn't good enough. And he is the absolute epitome of what you don't want. He's good enough that you don't want to get rid of him, but he's not bad enough that you we got to move on from this dude. So you just stick around. It's like being in a marriage that it was over 5 years ago. You're sticking around for the kids. You want to see them go through high school before you separate. And you're like, I really just want out. But it's just enough to keep you there. But really, you're not happy. You're not happy. That's kind of where the Raiders are with Derek Carr. And they're never going to be bad enough with Derek Carr at quarterback to where they can replace him. They'd have to do something drastic. As far as are we wearing our black uniforms versus Dallas? Not, if you're talking about in week 4, no. I doubt that. Now, more likely than not, Dallas will be wearing white uniforms, which will force us to finally wear something other than white. And I'll say this. I looked at the uniform schedule, and we're not wearing our burgundy uniforms until week 5 against the Titans. That'll be the first time they break those out. So if we're not wearing burgundy in week 4, and if the Cowboys are wearing their home whites like they usually do, then what else could we be wearing? So you might be on to something. I got to go look at the black uniform schedule. Maybe we are wearing them. It just feels weird that the first time they break those puppies out would be on the road. That seems like something you would want to do for the first time at the crib. But hey, I can't make this stuff up. I'm not in control of any of that stuff. So we'll see. Vincent Coe. thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. My guy Vincent Cole writes, what do you think about the Udoka situation, Lou? You know, there's layers to it, obviously. I feel like I told my wife this. I said the person that he had a relationship with had to be married, and it had to be someone that had some influence and power on the staff. It had to be. It couldn't just be another staff member that was just, and they just have a policy where you can't be with another person on the staff. That's dumb. And it turned out to be somebody that was married. I just think it's a little bit much for me. What that man chooses to do in his personal life, to me, should be his personal. And I get it. You say, well, it turns from personal to business because he's doing it with someone that he works with. So I still, it doesn't, to me, warrant him being suspended for an entire year. Now, there was something that apparently he said, or some kind of advance he made, or a comment he made to one of the females that was inappropriate, that even sparked the Celtics looking into some of the relationships that he was having with some of the staff members. And so, I don't know all of the particulars because, honestly, I don't care. I'm not a Celtics fan. Doesn't bother me one bit. It was just really awkward. You don't see these types of things happen every day, but it's not my team. So I honestly didn't get into the meat and potatoes of it. It's just weird that you're getting banned for an entire year. They don't want to fire you, but you're getting suspended for an entire season because of a relationship that they deem to be improper. Interesting. Vincent Coe, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Who writes, are you more of a they wrote me off, I ain't right back though type, or of a guy, or a let's ride type of guy? I'm definitely I'm a they wrote me off, but I ain't right back though type of guy. Definitely rocking with Geno Smith on that one. When Geno does things like that, he's not Geno Smith. He's Geno Smith with 2 F's at the end. That's thug. Good for Geno. LT, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. LT writes, what games on Philly's schedule would earn your respect? No game in particular. Philly does, because the schedule is what it is this year. It's not going to be an incredibly tough schedule. We played pretty much the same schedule as the Eagles, so I know their schedule isn't going to be incredibly tough. The consistency of what the Eagles do this season will earn my respect. And being put in some uncomfortable situations and seeing Jalen Hurts have to sling it around the football field to bring them back, that would probably earn my respect more than anything else that they could do. Is if they fall down in a game 17-3 and it's in the third quarter and Jalen Hurts has to bring them back. If it's 20-3, you're down 3 scores. Because 2 scores isn't that bad. That's a muff punt, touchdown, a stop, and a touchdown, and you're back in the game. 20-3, you're down 3 scores in a ball game. It's just not going well for you in the first half. You've had crazy things happen. A.J. Brown had a ball go off his fingers. It got picked off. Miles Sanders fumbled. You were driving, and you almost were in a position to score a touchdown. Miles Sanders fumbled. And so it's just nothing's going right for you in this game. It's 20-3. You're losing. And now you got to turn to Jalen Hurts and say, look, bro, we're running out of possessions. We need you to sling it around the field. Can you bring us back, please? And he does it, and you win the game 24-23. That's the kind of thing that I'm looking for. And look, it doesn't have to be that particular scenario, right? But something along those lines where game pressure is on Jalen Hurts, and he goes out and he delivers, throwing the football, not running around. And that's a part of the game too. And I'm not saying don't run. Nah, I'm not saying that, because that's part of what makes him who he is. But what I'm talking about is when a team decides, like today, Washington decided, you're not running, bro. Shit ain't happening. And he said, okay, cool. I'll just throw it. from the pocket. That's cool. I got no problems. And there were opportunities for Washington to make plays. And a better defense does make those plays. But that's not what Washington is defensively. So I'm still not sold. Thought he did some really good things. Don't get me wrong. And Eagles fans want me to just kowtow and say, oh, man, Jalen Hurts was effing amazing today, man. God, he couldn't miss. Dude was 20 of 33. He started 1 of 5. He scored 0 points in the second half. There were at least 2 throws that I thought could have been picked off if the defender, and they had time to turn and locate ball. There were opportunities on at least 2 balls and another one that I thought the safety should have went across and picked off. And he decided he wanted to go behind the whole play and just catch it over the shoulder like nobody else is going to attack the football. I thought there were opportunities there. So it's less about who the Eagles can beat. It's more about being in a position in a ball game that you're trailing where things like the Eagles are front runners. And that's, again, I would kill to be a front runner because that means you're always ahead. But at some point, you're not going to be allowed to be a front runner. You're going to actually have to come from behind. And I want to see if you can do that. And if you can do that, then that might change the way that I feel about this Eagles team. I think ultimately you could go 12-5 this season, 13-4. And I wouldn't be shocked if the first team you saw in the playoffs that played some defense and had enough offense, I wouldn't be shocked if that team sent you home. I wouldn't be shocked if you blew that team out of the water either. But you got to get up. So we'll see. Emorio Delcit, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for becoming a member of the MOBB Rights. Hey, Lou, I don't know about you, but Fuller didn't seem like a number 1 DB today, and it hurts because I'm a Virginia Tech fan too. Great job you've been doing, brother. Love the work you've done. I appreciate you. Kendall Fuller is not a number 1 cornerback. He never has been for this team. It's always been more of a number 2. Even in his first stint with us, he wasn't deemed to be the number 1 corner. But I've always said Kendall Fuller is a quality number 2 in this league. But as a quality 2, you got to make plays still. And he's not making plays. He's there. And this is why I refuse to just call him trash, because garbage corners get cooked and they're not even close. They're always a step or 2 behind. Kendall Fuller is 95% of the time he's in your hip pocket. He just doesn't make a play on the football. How many times today did Kendall Fuller literally have his hand in between the receiver and the football and he just couldn't pry it free? How many times? The deep ball before the half, where's Kendall Fuller? Right there with Devontae Smith. Just couldn't hand in between ball and Devontae couldn't pull it. Touchdown pass. Where's Kendall Fuller? Right there in front of him. Hand in there, couldn't pull it out. And I could go 3 or 4 more Devontae Smith or A.J. Brown catches where he's right there. Just can't pull it out. Kendall Fuller is always right there. Just doesn't pull it out. Just doesn't make a play on the ball. It's frustrating. At some point, I need you to make a play. Being there is cool, but that ain't good enough. Like showing up at school and being in attendance, that's cool. But if you ain't doing no work, what difference does it make? You can show up every day, have perfect attendance, and still get an F. And that's kind of where fans are with Kendall Fuller. Like, yeah, okay, cool. I hear you, Louie T. He's there, but he ain't making no damn plays. So as far as I'm concerned, he's there, but he's still absent. That's fair. If you come to school every day and you put your head down on the desk and go to sleep, you in class, you present, but you really absent because you really ain't there. That's Kendall Fuller right now. He's right there, but he really ain't there because either you win or you lose. Either you in first or you in last. I mean, ain't really anything else I need to say about that. Vincent Coe, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. My guy Vincent Coe writes, I never heard of Hufanga, but this guy is nuts. I'm telling you, man. Talanoa Hufanga. I talked about him on my podcast, week 1, Slime Gang. Y'all know what it is. And I said, look, man, this dude was all over the field against the Bears. If you have time and you want to treat yourself to a virtuoso safety performance in a ball game where you just want to have fun watching the dude fly around. It's wet, it's nasty, and this dude is in the backfield constantly. Turn on the Bears game week 1 and watch Hufanga fly around. Dude is a boatload of fun, man. Excellent. He's going to be a really good one for them. Amarillo Delcet writes, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Double up. Writes, I was so upset when Kendall got traded for Alex. A lot of fans were that first time around because we sent off an elite nickel inside corner, and what we got back was a marginal boundary corner that was no longer capable of playing inside. And I don't know what happened to him in Kansas City, but somewhere along the way in translation, his ability to play inside in the slot got lost. And right now, that would be the best attribute he could provide this team, is that we are sorely missing a legitimate nickel corner. And if he could somehow tap into that again and be that guy, that would help this defense tremendously. But that ship sailed. That ship's gone. That's never coming back. Joe Rockhead J, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Joe Rockhead J writes, what's up, Lou? What's up, Joe Rockhead J? Thank you for being a member of the MOBB, as always. Says, I'm dressed in all black like the Omen too. With so much more football to play, can the Commanders make this season worth watching? Absolutely. I've already laid out how it can be done, right? You fortify the offensive line. You start making some moves there. Nick Martin is your center. You take Wes Schweitzer. You move him back to guard where he belongs. That gets Trey Turner out of the lineup. I'd leave in Andrew Norwell for now. If you feel like he's still a problem, and I think he ultimately would be a problem, then you go to Sadiq Charles. If Sadiq, who can't seem to stay healthy to save his life, can't stay healthy or he's inconsistent too, then I think you take an extreme measure. You take Sam Cosmi, you kick him inside, and you put Cornelius Lucas at tackle, and you roll with it that way. You know, that is an extreme measure, one that I don't think they're willing to take because they drafted Sam Cosmi to be a tackle. It's hard to find quality tackles. Sam Cosmi is a quality tackle, so I don't think they want to move him inside the guard. But if you're looking to salvage this season and turn it into something, that may be a drastic measure you have to take. We're not there yet. But again, this is assuming that they see the offensive line as a problem and they feel like it's something that they have to fix. I'm assuming that they're going to just assume that Trey Turner and Andrew Norwell are magically going to turn the clock back to 2015. That's what I'm thinking they're going to do. And leave those guys right where they are. And leave Wes Schweitzer, who I think might have had the slowest shotgun snaps I've ever seen in my life. Those snaps, it literally took them a second and a half to get to Carson Wentz every single time. It's like he was snapping the ball in slow motion. There would be snaps, and I would be over there, doom, 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 sack. Carson would get the ball, and before he could even take his third step, he's getting sacked. And half of that was just, damn, can the snap get here finally? It felt like snail mail watching the damn snap get back to him. Yeah, they got a chance for sure. Anyway, I digress. We've passed the hour and 15, minute mark. And so that's going to do it for me, your man, Louie T. I thank you guys for joining me. If you're a Washington fan, this is the one silver lining you take out of tonight's game. 11-10 victory by the Denver Broncos is San Francisco is going to be one of the teams we're going to be competing with for one of those wild card spots. NFC's wide open. We've talked about this already. A lot of middle of the road teams in the NFC. Not a lot of top tier teams in the NFC. Those are all on the other side of the bracket in the AFC. So you're going to have 4 division winners. More likely than not, Eagles or Cowboys in the NFC East. Rams in the NFC West. More likely than not, the Packers, but I wouldn't discount any other team in that division, including the Lions, other than the Bears. Bears aren't winning that division, but Packers, Vikings, Bears, more likely than not, Vikings or Packers. And then Tampa Bay is going to win the South. And then after that, you're going to have whomever doesn't win the division in the East, Dallas or Philadelphia, that other team. Let's say Philadelphia wins the division. Then you're going to have Dallas, maybe the Giants. They've gotten off to a great start. Doesn't mean much, but we'll see. Washington, potentially. Maybe not. Maybe they're not even in the discussion and conversation. The Saints, the Cardinals, these 49ers, the Vikings, if they don't win the division, and the Lions. These are the 8 teams more likely than not. And I'm not going to disregard Atlanta either. If they could stay relatively healthy, they may be in the mix. You got 9 teams fighting for 3 playoff spots, essentially. So you need teams like 49ers to lose games like this if you're trying to get in. But again, we played the 49ers late in the season. That's why I said, if we want to get in, we control the outcome of our season. We play the Bears. We play the Falcons. We play the Vikings. We play the 49ers. All these teams that we'll be jockeying for position with, that we're trying to get in over, we play them. If you want in, beat them. If you want to be on the outside looking in, lose. Simple. It's not hard. So anyway, I digress. Broncos get to win 11-10 tonight over the San Francisco 49ers. Broncos are now 2-1, having scored a grand total of, let me get my math cap on, 16, 16, and 11, 43 points in 3 games. This is insane. They're 2-1 and they scored 43 total points this season. They're 1 for 7 in the red zone with 2 fumbles, and they're 2-1. Somebody's living right in Denver right now. Somebody's living right. Meanwhile, the 49ers are now 1-2, and they let a golden opportunity to get to 2-1 slip through their fingers. Start out early in this game. I want to say either their first or second possession. You get the big run from Jeff Wilson. You score a touchdown, and you don't score another touchdown the remainder of the night. Hell, you barely scored any more points the remainder of the night. Kind of felt like the Bears game all over again, if we're being honest. Didn't you score 10 points in that game too? Scored relatively early in the game and didn't score again. I think you ended up with a field goal on the first possession of the second half or something like that, and then you didn't score any more points. But you scored a touchdown early in the game. Deebo Samuel fumbled on the first possession, then you scored a touchdown, and then you went silent. Then you scored a field goal, and then you were up. I think you were up 10-0 at one point, if I'm not mistaken. I think it was 10-0, and then they ran off 19 unanswered points and beat you. I think. Either way. Wow. What a terrible game this was tonight. Somebody had to win. Somebody had to lose. Broncos get it done. We'll see if they can find a way to keep pace with the Chiefs in that division. They're tied in first place, 2-1. That's going to do it for me, your man Louie T. See you guys tomorrow for the Commanders Nightly News. I'm definitely going to be live after the Cowboys game. That's going to be a good one. I can't wait to see that one. And then we'll be live for the podcast episode on Tuesday. I should have gotten through all of the games by then. So until next time, you guys take care. God bless and good night.